Hey guys, welcome to the Beyond the Haze YouTube channel, where truth is stranger than fiction. Alright, so today's video we're going to go over Totalitarianism Explained. Three phases have begun. Do you know what they are? Over the past year and a half, I've written many pieces on the surveillance state and how we are one step away from the inclination of technological omniscience pertaining to control. The objective is not simply control, as they have already obtained that for the most part. Limiting cash withdrawals from the bank, restricting your movements and businesses outside the country, and new laws being created by the day. This latter part is akin to a tag team event of WWF type proportions. What the feds can't or won't do, they tag off for the states to accomplish, with local governments following suit. The objective is total control over everything you read, hear, and watch in the so-called media, and eyeball on you in every facet of your life. Max Slavo released an article on SHTFF Plans, his website, entitled "Apple is now giving people trust scores based on their calls and emails" on September 21st. This is an example of how tech firms in the US, in conjunction with one another and other American business entities, are instituting social engineering by controlling our communications via social media. The big picture is much more frightening, as this article comes on the heels of another, more insidious occurrence: a nationwide scoring system instituted in the largest surveillance state in the world, Communist China. On September 20th, an article written by Peter Dockrell was released that will really open your eyes when you read it. The piece is entitled "China's Chilling Social Credit System is Straight Out of Dystopian Sci-Fi, and it's already switched on." Here is an excerpt. China's social credit system, which is expected to be fully operational by 2020, doesn't just monitor the nation's almost 1.4 billion citizens. It's also designed to control and coerce them in a gigantic social engineering experiment that some have called the gamification of trust, assigning an individual trust score to each and every citizen, and to businesses too. According to China's Communist Party, the system will allow the trustworthy to roam freely under heaven while making it hard for the discredited to take a single step. To pull this off, the unprecedented scheme will harness the immense reach of China's technological infrastructure, some 200 million CCTV cameras. The idea is these ever-watchful eyes will be hooked up to facial recognition systems and cross-checked with financial, medical records, and legal records, with the whole apparatus regulated and interpreted by advanced big data crunching AI networks. The article goes on to tell how it is already in place. It is just not completely finished. The piece also represents a case of a Chinese journalist who was sidelined and marginalized for criticizing the government. In brief, the system will allow a privileged few to do what they want, and the rest restricted in every portion of their lives, even more than today. Before we go on, if this type of content interests you, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell below this video on the right, so that when new videos in the future come out, you'll be made aware. Continuing, three phases are evident within the progression of surveillance totalitarianism. Here they are. Number one, inception and initial emplacement. The new measure is put into place, eventually becoming widespread and taking root. CCTV cameras started out as simple video cameras in the convenience store, liquor store, bank, and parking lot to workplaces. Now they sprout up in the intersections, the shopping malls, the cafes, and the bus terminals. This is beginning of surveillance. Number two, fostered dependence and regulation. The ever-present boogeyman in our society is the invisible malcontent labeled as a terrorist, and this creates the need for more security and greater surveillance. The sacred goal, to keep everyone safe, is a bold-faced lie. The paradigm is shifted, and the senses of the populace are dulled. Not very much work in that department to not even pay the increased surveillance any mind. Over the past 2 decades, the corporations, the government, federal, state, and local, and the moneyed interest, oligarchs, and politicians have quietly inculcated a cross-linked and cross-functioning surveillance net or network. All cameras accessible and tied to the information systems of the authorities. Authorities who are backed by the state and enforced by states' edicts with firearms. Bioscanning, facial recognition, complete body scanners, and fingerprint recognition are now just a matter of fact in airports. Just 5 years ago, the mobs are ready to storm the TSA with pitchforks and torches for the affront at having their bodies exposed. The torches are burned out. The pitchforks are back in the green sheds. Now surveillance is the norm, and it's backed by regulation, phase 2, and a transition from surveillance being present to the creation of the surveillance state. Number 3, total surveillance, control and beyond. We have not reached this phase yet in the United States, but we're well on our way. Look to China. China is the model, the template, the guinea pig for the totalitarian roadmap of the one world government. In reality, a world of slavery. Kissinger, Bill Gates, Soros, and a plethora of others all laud communist China as the blueprint for the world state. Remember, Gates has scheduled with his team of investors to place 500 satellites in orbit to map the entire globe in real time by late spring of next year, 2019. When the omnipresent surveillance is in place, what do you think they'll do then? What will they do is follow their Malthusian learnings toward Thomas Malthus's recommendations for global population reduction in the interest of saving the planet and its resources. In reality, to cull the herd, reducing it to more manageable population of masters and slaves, the latter category making up the majority in a world not much different from that of Orwell's 1984. The article by Max Lavos shows that what they're doing in this country at the micro level, the efforts being put forth to limit people and their communications via social media and socially engineer the consciousness and actions of the people passively before the active engineering, first by rule of law and then by force, occurs. When that is complete, look to the past to see what will happen in the future. The answer is right there. The solution is not that simple. And the more systems in places to control, the more difficult it will be to exercise the solution. Let me know what you all think down below, everyone. Are we in this totalitarian type of system now? Who knows? Only time will tell. Will you resist?